Hey, I'm really excited to have you guys on this video. So if you're a girl 14 to 18 years old, you're a field hockey player and you love your hockey, then you're really going to enjoy the videos that we're going to run through with you over the next couple of days. And in about a week, we will be releasing our final tour details to the USA. So what this is all about is we're taking a group of girls over to the USA to compete in a major tournament over there in January 2020. And you'll get to compete in front of college coaches with the opportunity of basically having a holiday in the state. So that'll be amazing on its own, but with the opportunity of a sports scholarship and getting an international degree at the end of it. So if that sounds interesting to you, if that sounds exciting to you, then you're really going to want to watch the next couple of videos, and then shortly we'll be releasing our tour details. So there's only 16 spots, so you're going to need to be quick once we release these details. And whether you're just investigating sports scholarships as an opportunity, it's a new idea for you, or whether you're already in the recruitment process, you might be working with an agency, or you might be going it alone. Either way, you're going to get a lot out of these videos. So I'm Derek Morgan, the founder of USASportsScholarship.com and the 30-day game plan. And I'm also the father of two daughters. So our oldest daughter, Georgia, in the background on the photo on the left, she's been in the States for a little over, well, she's done her first year of university there. She's currently back here on summer holidays, working, saving some money, and getting ready to go back in August. She's had the time of her life studying the degree of her choice, and we'll go into how flexible the education system is over in the USA. But she's just had the time of her life, met some amazing people, got some amazing new besties, and just really enjoying it. Can't wait to go back. Amelia on the right, our younger daughter, she's in her second last year of school, and she's basically seen what her sister's going through on a field hockey scholarship over there, and she is looking to basically follow in her sister's footsteps. So she's going on her own journey of sourcing her own sports scholarship offers. Okay, so as parents, we've got kids at both ends of the spectrum, and we'll talk a lot about our journey through this process throughout the three videos, and some of the things that we've learned and some of the pitfalls that we've fallen into and how you can avoid them. So basically, there's 16 stages to the sports scholarship basic process and the journey that you're going to go through. First is the idea stage, and for some of you, you might have had that idea a while ago. Some of you, this might be a new idea or concept for you, and others you might be well into the process. So you'll still get a lot out of this either way. So once you've got the idea of, look, USA Sports Scholarship is an option for me, then you go in the process of discovery. So what does it mean for you? What's it all about? What does your lifestyle look like? You get into that whole investigation process around, what's involved academically and sporting wise. What are the, what do I need to be aiming for personally? This whole process, then you're making little decisions along the way. So there's no big decisions, no big commitments. And this is a really interesting concept at the idea phase, because a lot of parents think, oh, look, my kid's too young to be looking at a sports scholarship. They don't know what they want to do with uni, etc. There's no big commitments in this idea discovery phase. And the way that we take you through the process, there's no big investment on your part, so there's no big risk, but it allows you a methodical step-by-step way for you to go through all of these processes, fast-track the process, and make sure that a sports scholarship is going to be right for you. And then the tour, I'll get to that in a second, but you go through the planning process of what you need to do, when you need to do it, setting your goals, knowing what you're aiming for, and more importantly, understanding why that goal is important to you, because that gives you the drive to keep going and chasing your dream. Building personal brand is critical throughout this process as a sports scholarship application process, but also throughout your life, through your career, through business, whether you're going into a profession, whether it's small business, big business, corporate, doesn't matter. What you're doing, your personal brand is everything. So we cover off on personal brand in the context of sports scholarships, and then we look at engaging coaches, because this is all part of the process. Once you've got yourself into a position where you want to engage with coaches, there's really important things that you need to know, and we'll cover off on the engaging with coaches aspect in video 3. Okay, so we'll go through 3 educational videos, then we'll release the tour details for you, just so that you've got an understanding, because we want to make sure that you really know a lot of the basic details around sports scholarships before you actually just jump into the the tour details. So building relationships is really critically important when engaging with coaches. So we spend a lot of time on that in our 30-day game plan. And again, we'll cover off on some of that in later videos. Then once you've got a relationship, you're negotiating with offers with coaches, you're making a commitment to a college, you're sealing the deal with a national letter of intent, and then you're preparing to go, touching down in the USA. Then you go into pre-season, and then you've basically got your first semester, first year. So that's the broad, lead up to and first 12 months of going to college. And obviously there's a lot of detail in there, and that's what all the resources we're going to provide to you is designed to fast track you through, particularly the first 9 stages. Okay, so the first things we're going to cover in this video is really the idea in the discovery stage. Okay, so we're going to help you understand what's on offer as a sports scholarship, and then help you with sort of doing some of your initial research. So what can a sports scholarship do for you as an elite athlete? Basically, what if you went from playing club hockey and training once or twice a week to going into an elite sporting program? So if we use Georgia as an example, she was just on the fringes of higher selection. Okay, so she's a very talented player, but just the older you get, the narrower the selection opportunity. So there's lots of talented kids going for maybe 16 spots in a state team, as an example. So there's lots of talent knocking on the door of higher level selection, but they're not quite getting there. They're not quite getting the recognition, or they're not quite getting into those teams. And that can be really, really frustrating and disheartening. And it certainly was for Georgia. But she had a plan. She went, okay, I'm not getting the recognition that I'm wanting at home. She already knew that she wanted to travel and study overseas. So she started looking at USA Sports Scholarships as an opportunity for her to develop as a young athlete and aim to have a higher level of success with senior representation down the track, and in the process get an international degree. So she looked at the resources that were available in the US, as did we, and went, yeah, this is an amazing opportunity, and it's the right opportunity for us. So we started pursuing it. So when you're going over into the States as a field hockey player on sports scholarship, you're going into elite programs where the infrastructure and the resources are, in most cases, are better than the elite programs in most countries. Okay, so or on par or better. And certainly when you start sort of getting down into state level training, and if you're not in those sort of academy high performance squads, then you're playing club hockey, and you might only be playing club, training once a week, playing once a week, or maybe you're training twice a week, playing once a week. Once you get into these elite programs over there, you've got you're basically in a squad of maybe somewhere between, on average, 23 to 26 players. You've got 3 full-time coaches focusing on you as an athlete. You've got a team of international players around you. You're building friendships. You're building connections in countries all over the seas and states all over the US. So you've got a squad of new friends. And basically, George's experience was, we rocked up to Williamsburg in Virginia, and we were there a couple of hours. We checked into our motel, and she'd already made friends with everybody in the team. She's already connected with them on social media and etc. So all of a sudden she's gone, hey, listen, I've got an invite to dinner with the team. I'm going out. So she landed there a couple of hours after we got into town. She's out sort of socialising with the team. So there's a real bond there even before she got there. And so she's built friendships that she says is going to last her a lifetime. You get in season, you're getting 20 contact hours a week with the coaches. So this is video reviews, personal skills sessions, on-turf training sessions, weights, yoga, meditation, a whole bunch of different types of programs that you will be doing in those 20 hours. So you've got a focused, concentrated effort during that peak season, and then you're also getting one-on-one coaching because you've got such a high coach to player ratio, and you've also got a lot of contact hours. You really start to get drilled down or focused on as a player and what you need to do individually to lift your performance and part of the team. So you're playing in season, you're playing typically at least one, maybe two games a week usually, and there's a lot of travel involved. So that's exciting on its own. You're getting to see lots of different locations and parts of the USA, and you've got a whole team of professional support staff around you. So fitness trainers, academic support, you've got doctors, nutritionists, sports trainers, physiotherapists, psychologists, and I might have repeated myself in there, but you've got all of this support to help you as an individual and as a team member. You've also got an army of supporters. So the families over there typically get right behind the teams. A lot of families travel with the teams. When you're having home games, they do a thing called tailgates. And that's where they basically, in the car park, everyone pulls out eskies, barbecues, food and whatnot. And they basically have a gathering and a meal after the game, not just with your team and the families within those teams, but also with the travelling team and any supporters there. So there's a real community aspect to it. And the other thing is that as an international athlete, the US or local families are just an amazing support to you. Georgia, basically ended up with adopted parents there. She was invited back to friends' houses for weekends and holidays and Thanksgiving celebrations, all those sort of things. So it's been a really amazing experience from that community perspective. So why look at going to university in the USA when you can get a degree at home? There's some really unique experiences that you get. Like at home, you probably know kids that are at uni. They're either siblings or they're family friends or friends of friends or whatever. And you're basically changing high school routine to just a slightly different home routine. Yeah, you've got a bit more flexibility time-wise. You're still living at home. You've probably got yourself a part-time job. You're going to uni and playing club hockey. So you can pretty much envisage what your what university life is going to look like for you. So when you compare that to traveling overseas, living in a dorm, going into an elite sporting program, the person you become in this journey adds a whole other layer of personal growth to you. It adds a whole other layer of skills and resilience and experience and purpose and a whole bunch of different things that makes you stand out. So because you're developing differently, when it comes time to go into your career, you've got a whole different skill set that the average athlete or student with a degree simply doesn't have. And let's face it, everybody's got a degree. Most people have got a couple of degrees. So your actual degree is not the thing that's going to stand you out in the job market, right? So what's your point of difference? How are you going to stand out in the job market and excel and get the careers opportunities that you're after? The other thing is that this process allows you to develop a global network. Now, parents, you'll know the value of networks and connections. Kids, you may not fully appreciate that, but you may have heard the old saying, it's not what you know, it's who you know. Well, you get to know some really important, influential people, and you get to gain networks through the university environment in the US that's unique and very, very different to anywhere else on the planet. So the alumni programs, the relationships that you have to past students to the college, and the connections that you get in the job market are really, really interesting. And as a student athlete, there's companies in the US, they value that so much that they will only employ student athletes. So if you're not a student athlete, you can't get a job with the company. So the connections that you create is probably the biggest value in this whole process. So the experience first, and then the experience and the connections that you make is a massive point of difference to going through the traditional path of university at home. Look, there's nothing wrong with going to university at home, but this opportunity has to be right for you. And if you're trying to determine the value in it, then that's a really big one. And as we've talked about, you're just more attractive in the job market. So if your resume stands out because you've done something different to all the job applicants that are going for that position, if you are more interesting in an interview because you can talk about a whole range of different things that makes you stand out in the mind of that interviewer, then you are leaps ahead of just about everybody else that you're competing against for a job. Okay, so there's where the value is. Okay, so what we want to do is show you what a day in the life of a student athlete looks like. So you can just simply go into YouTube, type in a day in the life of a student athlete, and then just put field hockey player. Bang. And you'll get a whole bunch of videos that you can go through and look through. And we've actually even made this process even easier for you because we put a whole bunch of videos on a playlist on YouTube. So you can just click on the link below and get that as one of the free tools that we're giving you as part of this process. So each video we're going to try and give you some new free tools to help you fast track this process and understand exactly what's on offer. So you'll also get, there's an instant download if you want to grab the 16 stages so you can take notes and things along the way. That's there as well. And the other thing that while you're on the YouTube channel, why not click subscribe so that any videos that we're putting out on YouTube, you're going to get updates on those as well. Okay, so you don't miss anything. So what we want to do is take you through a process of how you can avoid the same mistakes that we made, and we'll cover more on that experience around coaches and engaging with coaches in video 3. Okay, so video 2, you'll get that in the next couple of days. We'll release that. So we've been through the idea phase. We're going to go through the investigation, decision making, goal setting and planning phase. Okay, and we'll give you some tools and resources to help you fast track that through the process as well. Okay, and then video 2 will start to give you an idea of some of the other things that we're going to be doing on tour. So we're going over to a hockey tournament where you're going to play in front of hundreds of coaches, and at the end of that, you're going to put yourself in a better position to be able to get offered a sports scholarship at the end of the day. But in that process, while we're over there, we're going to have some fun. Okay, so we'll let you know a little bit about what's going on in video 2. We'll give you more resources to get you started researching your options. And we're going to take you through the things that you need to know about how field hockey works in the USA. Okay, so before you go, be sure to ask any questions in the comments below, and we will answer those when we release the tour details in a couple of days. Okay, so any questions, comments, pop them in the messages below, and we'd love to hear from you. And we'll try and cover off on some of your questions as we sort of go through this process. So just to finish off, if you also want to get these video details and the tour details when they're released via email, just click on the blue button on this page and get your tour details emailed directly to you. So yeah, look forward to catching up with you in video 2.